I feel like mothers have this ability, or parents generally, they have this ability to just not show it to us so that we don't know that they're struggling.
Exactly.
But when we're at the stage, we suddenly realize that they actually go through a lot.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Season 2 of Tune Islam, a podcast for Singapore Muslim millennials on Islamic faith, love and happiness. Here's where we share spiritual guidance and share practical insights to inspire positivity and uplift our well-being. My name is Azzah Fariha and I will be your host for today. Here with us, we have Ustazah Amalina. Welcome, Ustazah Amalina.
Thank you so much, Azzah.
And she is from the Asatiza Youth Network. She's currently a global policy manager at a global tech company. She's a very busy woman, but she's often seen in many engagement sessions, particularly in youth and tech-related fields, where she shares her insights on the industry and hopes to inspire the next generation. Today, Ustazah, we're going to be talking about a mother's dua. It's a topic that's very close to my heart because I'm a mother myself, mother of two, coming to three, my third one, inshallah.
Oh, inshallah.
Yes, so I am very, very interested in this topic and to hear what you have to share with us today. So I know, Ustazah, that there is a very popular saying in our community that goes by Syurga adalah di bawah telapak kaki ibu, which means stay with her for paradise is beneath her feet. And also there's a hadith that mentions mother 3 times and then comes father. What does that mean, Ustazah?
And that's a very good question, Azzah. I think intuitively, it shows how much Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prefers mother in a very special way, and that the obedience of parents, especially mother, is placed in the Quran along with the obedience of him. So all in all, it sort of reflects the kind of honor and place that mothers deserve in Islam. And I think we can, maybe have a conversation about this in two folds. Mm-hmm. Firstly, I would say that, and I'm sure you concur this, every woman who wants to become a mother, the kind of pain and challenges they go through pre-pregnancy, during the pregnancy period, and then childbirth, it's a kind of pain and challenge that's very unique, and it's almost something that you can't put into words. And I definitely would also mention that it's not limited to just mothers who go through natural childbirth. There are mothers who go through C-sections, other sort of complications, mothers who go through other methods of becoming a mother, and even through fostering, adoption, and things like that. It's very interesting because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also mentioned this in the Quran in Surah Al-Ahqaf, حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ كُرْهًا وَوَضَعَتْهُ كُرْهًا. And he says that the mothers bore them in hardship and then also delivered them in hardship. And it's amazing because it is being mentioned in the Quran is the single source of truth for all of us. And I think beyond that, beyond just seeing it from a very religious lens, and science also illustrate that the pain of childbirth is almost equivalent as one breaking 20 bones simultaneously. I can't imagine breaking one, let alone 20. And mashallah, it's the kind of pain that it's hard for you to fathom. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually puts the pleasure of a mother almost as a precursor or a requisite to the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mm-hmm. And it's encapsulated in this very famous story where a man came to Ibn Abbas. He committed a very major sin. He came telling him what he's done, and he wanted Ibn Abbas to tell him what can he do so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive him. So Ibn Abbas instead asked, is your mother alive? Hal ummuka hay? Mm-hmm. And he said, no. So immediately Ibn Abbas said, then go and seek repentance and forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and hope for his mercy. So the man left. So the student of Ibn Abbas got very puzzled because this man came confessing a crime, a sin, yet you ask of his mother, which part of that fits into the equation? He actually said this very beautifully. Wallahi, I don't know any action that is more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than serving your own mother. That I cannot think of any actions that Allah loves more than bringing kindness and obedience to your mother. Mm-hmm. So I think it doesn't just shows the kind of like the honor, the kind of place mothers deserve in Islam, but also essentially it boils down to how mothers are the gates, our gateway to paradise.
What you mean by that, Ustazah, is that no matter how grave your mistake is or your sins are, to expiate the sin, you have to first ensure that your mother is well taken care of.
Yes.
Am I correct? Maybe you want to share with us a little bit about your experience with your mom or stories that is very close to your heart.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, especially at this age where we're still young, we're now financially independent. The first one was when I first started working. And then, it's that excitement where you can start finally giving parents, some pocket money every month. So that was what I did first. And two things struck me. A was when I realized that my parents were very hesitant to take it.
Okay.
Although, you're reached at that point where you feel that responsibility. And it's amazing because it's sort of put across like they are still, you're still their baby.
Yeah.
But more importantly, also, I think as you become more financially aware, now that you have a lot of purchasing power, you realize the cost of living, and everything on that sort. It amazes me how my mom raised me and my siblings and put us through madrasah education with the little salary that they had.
And not just education, they have to pay for the house, they have to pay for transportation, cost of living and all that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, what about your story?
After becoming a mother myself, I realized how big a sacrifice my mom and my parents both went through to bring us up. There's only me and my brother, but my parents are in the food business. So they started off with a very small stall selling the usual Malay cuisine, mee rebus, mee soto and all that, And the brains behind this whole food business was my mom. She took the step to sacrifice her time. She knew that she had to make all these sacrifices in order to bring us up as well as she could, to the best of the abilities. Yeah.
I think one interesting thing is that I feel like mothers have this ability, or parents generally, they have this ability to just not show it to us so that we don't know that they're struggling.
Exactly.
But when we're at the stage, we suddenly realize that they actually go through a lot.
Yeah.
Like you now start to figure out like, how do they even do it?
They just knew that they had to do it and, you just do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I think the other day also I was, chatting with my mom about this, and then I feel perhaps one of the biggest sacrifices she did was even before she gave birth to me. So what happened was before my parents had me, my mom had, I think, 1 or 2 miscarriages. And then what happened was they found out there was a cyst growing together with me in her womb, unfortunately. And it came to a point where she had to make a decision to remove the cyst, or it will disrupt the growth of myself in her womb. I don't think that's something that any first-time parent would want to hear. Yeah, so she made the brave decision to go through the surgery to at least keep me in the womb for the next few months until I've come to full term. Going through operation and surgery, you need a lot of drugs to be sedated and stuff. And I remember clearly every time she tells this story, I bravely say, no, it's okay. Just don't put me under any drugs. I'll stay awake throughout the surgery. I can't even imagine you in an operating theater. You hear all the clink and clangs that go in the theater itself. And she said that, because like I wanted you to be full term so that I can eventually see you. That's what I'm willing to go through.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I think you can sort of maybe appreciate, physical sort of challenges that parents go through.
Yeah.
But emotional sort of roller coaster is something that, you can't put words to it.
There's a famous quote that says, having a child is to decide forever to have your heart go walking around outside your body. After I became a mother, I truly understand and appreciate the love and sacrifice more than ever before. The love you have for your children is truly boundless. How about you? How has motherhood transformed you? A mother's sacrifice knows no boundaries. There's this saying that goes like that. And we know that in Islam, we have to take care of our mums to the best that we can, up to the best of our abilities. Can you share a little bit more about this, Ustazah?
Yeah, I think if you were to take reference to many of the hadith that's being shared by a lot of our scholars, there's one prominent hadith which says that a man once came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asking for Rasulullah's permission to participate in jihad. And interestingly, Rasulullah didn't immediately say yes. Instead, he responded and he asked, "Are your parents alive?" And the man said, "Yes." So Rasulullah said, "Then exert yourself in service to them." And from this hadith, we sort of see the importance that is being given to take care of our parents is given equal sort of weight, if not more, vis-a-vis other acts of worship we have to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we dive further into understanding the religion, we tend to gravitate towards recognizing and valuing like more sort of tangible sacrifices, you know, what more else that we can do for the religion. We want to do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to be great servants. But I absolutely love how Allah often reminds you that there's no one ultimate way. As part of ourselves seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hablu min Allah and the hablu min nas has to be equal. You know, Allah didn't say you choose one over the other. But for you to get the pleasure of Allah, it also hinges upon and it also has to go hand in hand with you taking care of other people. So it ultimately shows that taking care of parents is giving the same amount of importance, if not more, for you to attain that level of pleasure. You know, what we do in this world, part of our amanah is to look after our parents. So that's definitely one of the highest act of worship that we can think of. And it's the most convenient one for a lot of us who still have parents.
Because they are so close to us.
Yeah.
Ustazah, I would like to ask you, why is a mother's dua very important in our lives?
It's actually a very good question. And I think there's this hadith by Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh, which actually mentions that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says there's three types of supplications that is being answered without any doubt. A is the supplication of an oppressed person. B is the supplication of a traveler, musafir. And thirdly, and C, which is the supplication of a parent over the child. So I think that just comes to show that the power of the dua of a mother, which also comes to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala actually listens to what the mother says, the mother prays for over the child. And as we know, anything that comes out from our mouth are also a type of dua. From a lot of past history and stories, it really shows how the magnitude on scale and the kind of limitless power of the dua of a mother can effect. It can go from curing illnesses, even bring a lot of happiness and pleasure and barakah to one's life. Prophet Musa alayhi salam once asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, "Who's my companion in Jannah?" And Malaikat Jibril actually says that this companion, he's a butcher and he lives in a certain place. So Prophet Musa then sets off trying to find this person. Long story short, he bumped into a random person in one of the butcher shops. He accompanied the person even back home. They stayed, they chatted. Came a time where this young man actually brought his mom. I think there's like, from the description, they live in a 2-story house. So his mom was very old, very aged. Came and then he fed her, he cleaned her. And then Prophet Musa actually saw that his mom was actually mumbling something. They couldn't really catch it. So Prophet Musa then, approached him and ask, your mom recited something, but I didn't really catch it. What did she say? And he says that every time I clean, every time I feed her, my mom will actually pray, "May Allah forgive you and place you as the companion of Prophet Musa alayhi salam." So the point of it is that the dua of a mom apart from alleviating a lot of your physical hardship, it's to the extent that it gives you that mention of a prophet to place you amongst the prophet in Jannah. It's sort of like one of the highest sort of like prayer you would want when we live in that eternally in Jannah. I think part of that, holistically, if you look at it also, it's really something we need as part of our journey in this world and for the akhirah. And I think you'll be able to attest to that as well.
Yeah, because we are so busy leading our lives, daily, such that it becomes a routine and we forget these little things that makes it worthwhile. So when you mention the story of that, it really brings us back to what we can utter or what we can say to our children, what our mothers say to us, so that we can be closer to the practices of the prophets.
Yeah, so I think when you have that close relationship with your mom, you do things together, and then it makes her feel happy. And that's where I think it naturally moves her to also make dua for you. And I think beyond that will also be the kind of barakah that comes with it.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because barakah is something that we don't see.
Exactly.
We say, we talk about it, but it doesn't come in any concrete shape or form. There's definitely going to be hardship that we feel in this life. There's a lot of challenges, but somehow perhaps we feel more at calm where some catastrophic event happens, or we always feel that as much as we are financially tight, but somehow we can still make things work.
Exactly.
It's also still part of barakah.
Correct. It's so interesting that you mentioned the word barakah and how that we cannot see it, but it's something that we can feel as we go on about our daily lives.
Yes.
Because speaking from personal experience, I just want to share a little bit. I took 2.5 years leave from teaching, because I'm actually teaching, to help my parents at the shop. So during these 2.5 years, I see my mom every day and I work with her every day. And the barakah that I felt from that 2.5 years is very different from what I am facing now. For example, where I only see her at most once a week. And I think some people might also feel the same way. In this case, Ustazah, how do we strengthen or maintain the bond with our mothers? Because not everyone has the opportunity to see their parents every day. What do you think they need from us as children?
Yeah. I actually feel that the point you just mentioned about making time, I think that's the best we can do as we adult. Because, we have a plate and it has always been maybe half full and we have so much time with our family. But as you mentioned also, as we grow up, we take on more responsibility, we have our own family. That time, and not just time, but attention that we give to people around us, it slowly it thins every single time, right? I make a point to always tell people that my family time is a non-negotiable. So even if that means, say, once a week we have family dinner at home, every Tuesday is family dinner, or every Saturday a block out is just, time with family. And I think that that's something that's very precious. Something that I also do with my mom is to spend time to do what she loves. Just be a part of her routine, part of what she does every day. For example, we can go and eat together. If she has dinner every day at 6 p.m., then you also be at the dinner table at 6 p.m. Be there, be present. So there's this cute thing I really like to do with my mom. I'm very close to my mom. And I know that she loves strawberry milkshake from McDonald's specifically. She always have that when she was having me and my two brothers. We are all 1 year apart. So it's 1 year after another. And it's something that she always have. So usually after I come back from work, I'll just swing by McDonald's. And, the milkshake is really small. Then I'll come back, I'll surprise my mom. And every single time, I'll get the same reaction. It's just genuine and pure happiness. Although that milkshake is just $2.50, it's so small. And I feel like that in itself, seeing how happy she is, it almost feels like I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees me that way, is happy as she is seeing me doing that for her. I personally don't think our parents need anything per se. And I also see that because I think, and genuinely, as you go through motherhood as well, your single hope is that your child actually grow to become a good human being, bring benefit to people around them, and ultimately good servants to Allah. I really genuinely think that our parents only want to, to reap what they sow, because we are their amanah in this world. And it's nice, it's interesting because we in turn also need them to, make our path smooth to Jannah. So it's really not something that they need, but it's for us to also do justice, I guess, to what they have done. And this sort of idea that we are their investments for their hereafter, it clicked with me once when I remember, I think it was during my first job, and then I was with my colleagues, and then one person, suddenly she came up to me after a few interactions, and she looked at me and she said, Amalina, today when you come home, can you please relay my thank to your mom for who you are today? I don't know why at that point, I was shocked and I almost like bawled, almost scared. And I think, and that's so beautiful because I am absolutely, I guess, honored and grateful that people see the kind of love and sacrifice my parents has poured into me, and not just seeing what I do as me, you know, but it's also like actually it's
part
them.
of them.
I give it back to them. And if anything that I do good and I touch people's lives, it's really that I hope it goes back to them and that Allah is pleased with them, so that Allah is pleased with me as well.
MashaAllah. That is such a fantastic story. Thank you for sharing that. Ustazah.
Do you think that our roles sort of reverse when we grow older? Like our parents, they raised us, they took care of us until, we are at a certain age where we're so independent. But I come to realize that as they age, the roles reverse where we look after them. And, it'll come to a point where we are the ones who will then bathe them, clean them, help them, give the kind of life that they have given us. It's almost like it's out of love that they give the world to us. And it's also that we need to learn from that so that we are able to give
it back to them.
Yeah, and it occurred to me, like, I think a couple months back when my mom fractured her arm. So definitely, it's very limited in terms of what she can do. And to me, it just came naturally that I thought, okay, you know what? I'm just going to drop everything. I'm going to work from home. I'm going to make the necessary arrangements so that I can be with her, especially when she needs help eating, praying, and things like that. And to some extent, I feel like she felt as if like she's burdening me. She'll be like, oh, you shouldn't be doing this. Yes. But I literally look at her and I'm like, you did this for me. You bathed me. You cleaned me. Why would I feel any ounce of shame that I have to do that? Yeah. So that is something that I felt is quite beautiful in terms of how our life pans out. What about you? Like you're a mother. You also see how perhaps you're raising your daughter as well. What do you think?
Well, there is this understanding in our community that last time, the parents, the way they brought up their kids is such that, when you grow up, you better take care of me. That's your responsibility. It's something that's being shoved into our faces. And it's something that is being told to us in our childhood that we must prepare mentally for. But hearing your story, it seems that it has been painted differently, such that the child should want to do it without feeling it as a responsibility. It's more of like, no, this is what comes naturally. You did it for me when I was younger, and I'm going to do it for you when you're older. It's something beautiful. It's supposed to be that way. And I feel that the story that you shared is how we should paint it to our children.
I think like the messaging, the kind of like norm that we inculcate to the more younger one reshapes how they view
exactly
this sort of
correct
things. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing with us all your beautiful stories about your parents, about your mom. We have learned so much from you today, and we can see how gentle you are, how beautifully put your words are, and I think it's something that we all can learn from.
I hope everyone will also make dua for my mom.
Thank you so much for listening. So if you like this episode, please follow Tune Islam and stay tuned for more. Assalamualaikum.